All right, welcome to the training, Land More PIFs. If you don't know what a PIF is, welcome to sales. That is a pay in full, meaning that the customer, the client or prospect turning into client, pays for the full amount up front. Basically, no installments. Now, if you're in a traditional sales role, you're probably getting paid commission based on cash collected. Why is it important that we look for more paid in fulls? Well, there's two very important reasons. I'm going to go over those and I'm going to show you how to land more paid in fulls. So reason number one, PIFs are important. So a lot of the times when you look at installment plans, let's say that you're selling a $5,000 product and they can either pay in full for $5K or they can make 3 payments of $2,500, which would equal a total of $7,500. So you're sitting there going, well, you can get paid more by selling more 7,500s. Math, very good. But let's be honest. If someone is set up and they're supposed to pay you 25 plus 25 plus 25, month 1, 2, 3, this is going to be secured at the point of sale. So that's locked in. This is probably a good, let's say 75% chance that that happens. And then as it continues, this drops astronomically to maybe like 45 to 50% of installment plans will be paid all the way through. Now, there's contractual obligations, subscriptions, and all this other stuff that you can throw in there. But let's just say that these numbers are true, right? All of a sudden, this drops off, and this is 50% of the time is actually happening. This happens 3/4 of the time, not too bad. And then that's guaranteed. So now, over 2 months, you've gotten paid your $5,000. And if you're making 10%, you get paid your $500. Congratulations, but it's paid out to you as $250. See what I'm saying? So, and then if you're lucky, then you'll get this other $250 to come. But that is over a 3-month stretch of $250, $250, $250. You'd have to stack a lot of these on top of each other to make it worthwhile on a monthly basis. My preferred method is that I'm going to collect as many paid in fulls as I possibly can, because if I'm going to earn 10%, so let's say that's by 10% equals 500, good math. I'd rather get my $500 now. I got bills to pay, I got family to take care of, I got things I want to buy. I'd rather have my $500 now than try to stack up these installment plans on the back end. Also, let's say, unfortunately, because churn is so high in the sales department, that you set up this installment plan, 25, 25, 25, you get 250, 250, 250, and you make the sale, you collect that 250, and then they go, hey, listen, it's not working out, let's part ways. Company keeps the rest of that back end, you don't see a dime of it. You get paid for what you've collected up to that point. Also, KPIs are typically set around cash. So we also want to make sure that our KPIs are being hit. If we're getting a bunch of minimal downs, we're never going to hit our cash KPIs. So that's number 1A, 1B, 1C as to why I really like paid in fulls. Now, I also want to flip the page and talk about the benefit to the company and how you actually stand to make more money by collecting more paid in fulls as opposed to setting up installment plans. Okay, so here's why it's so important for the company, because the company who can pay the most to acquire a client will always win. And so if we can get more cash through paid in fulls, that creates more ad spend, which for you as a sales rep creates more opportunity, right? If they're going to spend more on ads, then that means more leads, more book calls, more opportunities. So let's look at the math really quick. Installment plan. So we're going to use our $5,000 product. $2,500 down for the installment plan because they're going to split it up 25, 25, 25 as we did just a minute ago. $250 to cost to acquire a new client, which is pretty low, but let's just roll with it. $250 to pay to you to commissions because you get 10% of that. That gives you $2,000 left over. Then they still have to take that $2,000 and put it into payroll, put it back into marketing, and put it into operations. And then obviously if they're a good business owner, they'll have a profit account that they'll have for reserves set aside, bonuses, etc. So now all of a sudden they have to divvy up $2,000 to whoever's going to take over fulfillment and whoever partakes in the business. Marketing, if it costs $250 to acquire a client, let's say $2,000 that goes to payroll, let's say $500 of that gets divvied off to payroll. So you're left with $1,500. Another $200 to $300 goes to operations. So now you're left with what did I just say? Maybe $1,200, $1,100. And then all of a sudden $1,100 is left over for marketing. It costs $250 to acquire a client. That's good to go get 4 new clients. Not bad, but then that leaves nothing left over for profit. But if we get paid in fulls, $5K up front, cash collected, point of sale, $250 to acquire a client, acquiring a paid in full is the same cost as acquiring an installment client. So $250 there, you're gonna make $500 on the commissions. So they're out $750 from the jump, $4,250 left over. They have to pay payroll. So let's say that again, the $500, because payroll should remain a constant outside of commissions. So let's say that they have to pay payroll, the $500. That brings them down to what? $3,750, right? And then marketing. Let's say that was $200-300 let's go to operations next. Let's say that was $200-300. So that is $3,750 minus $300. So that's $34 and change. And then they have their profit that's supposed to be left over. But let's say that before we get to profit, we have $3,400 now to play with. That we know it costs $250 to acquire a client. You could go get 10 more, probably 10 more clients because of that. So now you are now doubling, let's say 2 to 3xing the ability for the company to go get more opportunities for you. Now, if we know that that money gets put back into marketing and you're able to go get 10 clients instead of 4 new clients, you in turn double the amount of sales that you're going to make because you're collecting more money up front, which allows the company to invest back into marketing at a heavier, more consistent pace. So that is a reason as to why it's beneficial for the company for you to be able to capture more paid in fulls. Hopefully the math makes sense here. But by you collecting more paid in fulls, you get paid out immediately at a higher amount, $500 or 10% of whatever you collect. And then that should be able to allow you to acquire 2 to 3 times more than what you would if you were just stacking installments. So it works for the short term and it works for the medium to long term as well. Okay, so let's go back to the video title, how to get more paid in fulls. And this is key. I want you to deploy this if you're closing in the sales rule. So let's go back to our product. We have $5,000 offer when you pay in full versus $7,500 for installments. Okay. When you're at the point of sale and you drop these 2 offers, hey, it's $7,500 if you'd like to get started today. If you want to prepay it up front because you have the capital to do so, it's only going to be $5,000 and will save you $2,500 by investing today. And they go, oh no, that makes a lot of sense. I want to save $2,500, but I am not liquid the $5,000. I can't do that right now. I'll just have to do the installment plan. What I like to do in those situations is I tell them, no problem. We agree on a down payment. And ideally, I'm maxing this out as much as I possibly can. It might not be 25. I might go, yeah, not a problem. Hey, listen, I'm able to give you this opportunity. We're going to have to figure out what a down payment looks like. And if you paid in full balance within 30 days, honor it. So I tell them that, I go, cool, listen, I know that you want to save the $2,500. What I want to do is incentivize you. Let's say that we're able to put down a decent amount of money today. Could be $2,500, could be $3,000, could be $4,000. I'll give you 30 days to pay this off and still capture the $2,500 in savings. So you're still going to save money, and it's going to put you in a situation where you can feel like we've supported you. We gave you some flexibility. You still save the $2,500, and we can hit the ground running without having to worry about anything. What are your thoughts on that? And a lot of times people like this because you're working with them and still giving them a guideline to follow, a framework to follow, but it has to be within this 30-day time frame. So the $5K, I'll still give you the paid in full at the $5K, still save your $2,500 so long as it's paid off within 30 days. Now, if they want to do, what would it be, $1,250 per week for 4 weeks, they can do that so long as it's paid off. But if at any point it gets to day 31, well, the contract value bumps to $7,500, just so that you're aware. So we need you to make sure that this is paid off within the next 30 days. Be more than happy to honor it for you on day 31. Regardless of how much you've put down, it's going to bump to the $7,500 investment. Now, the reason why that is so powerful is that a lot of the times in installment plans, you're stuck having to go chase that prospect to collect that money. What this does for you is it has them chase you to give you money, because now they're incentivized. Time is on the clock, $2,500 in savings on the line. They're going to pay you $2,500 today, and they might be able to come up with the $2,500 in 2 weeks. They pay that off. We're good to go. I honored that paid in full and collected a higher commission paycheck because I'm probably collecting that on the pay period. If you're getting paid bi-weekly, then you get your $250, 2 weeks apart, and it's all said and done, as opposed to having to wait till next month. So this is the tool on how I get more paid in fulls. Again, offer the paid in full rate versus the installment rate. Don't give them a 30-day window immediately. Shut your mouth. If they go, yeah, cool, here's $5K, take it. But if they go, oh, I want to do the $5K, I understand the savings, but I don't have it on me right now, I can't financially swing to do it, well, then we can take a down payment, $2,500, $3,000, $4,000 down, give them a 30-day window to pay it off, honor that paid in full rate if it's within the 30 days, and make sure they understand on day 31, contract value goes up to 75, and they'll have to owe that in full, or have to owe that balance at that point. That will get them chasing you with their credit card saying, charge my card, I want to save $2,500, and it prevents you from having to chase them and putting more money in your pocket up front. Hopefully this makes sense. Let me know if there's any questions.